refuse to die here. My dream is not yet fulfilled. We cannot conquer any mountain. The mountain just let us go. This is the true reflection of an 18-year-old boy after 10 days of life and death trials in Aoti County. Next, let us go back to before the story began. The protagonist, Sun Liang, had just turned 18. A Wuhan native from Hubei who dropped out at 17 and worked as a waiter and odd jobs, and also helped his father with mechanical installation work. During this time, he saw outdoor gear videos on social media and fell in love with the sport. With his father's support, in March 2024, he completed Yunnan Lake, Tiger Leaping Gorge, and other well-known commercial hiking routes like Nanjilu. In July the same year, he started heavy backpack hiking, and with a guide, reached the summit of Harbor Snow Mountain at 5,396 meters. In September, he climbed alone to 5,592 meters in Lijiang, and in December, successfully challenged Yulong Snow Mountain at 6,178 meters, Kunlan Mountains, and Yuju Peak. These high-altitude achievements made him believe he could handle extreme environments. After seeing on a platform that Aoti County is the ultimate final challenge for hikers, he thought Aoti County was only about 4,000 meters, so he could easily handle it, and began preparing to cross Aoti County. On February 7, 25, Sun Liang was driven by his father to Qingdao Airport, then flew to Xi'an and took a car to Taipei County. In his father's eyes, this was just an ordinary hiking trip. Unaware, it almost became their last goodbye. At 8 a.m. on the 28th, Sun Liang set off carrying a 65-pound backpack, planning to start from Yutu town and take 7 days. He planned to cross 80 kilometers of Aoti County, exiting at Yinga town. Shortly after starting the hike, he encountered a sign warning against illegal crossing. Since 2018, the local government clearly banned illegal crossing of Aoti County. Illegal crossing of Mount Atai is prohibited, but every year many teens and individuals come to challenge it, and Sun Liang, like others, chose to ignore the warning, determined to cross no matter what, and continued the illegal crossing. Immediately after entering the mountains, his phone lost signal, and he had to rely on offline maps to move slowly forward. The first 3 days, except for deep snow and strong winds, there was no danger and progress was smooth. But on the 4th day, that is the afternoon of the 11th, the first crisis came with wind and heavy snow. Temperature dropped sharply below -20 degrees, causing his phone to die, and his power bank wouldn't turn on. Instantly trapped with no signal, no navigation, and no rescue options, he had to suppress his fear and use his experience and instincts to find a way out. On the 12th, he found a small river and decided to follow it downstream. This section of the path was covered with ice, extremely slippery. Even though he wore crampons, he still twisted his ankle. In severe pain, he even popped his dislocated ankle back into place and endured the pain to keep walking. However, fate took a turn when he reached a fork in the road. If he had followed the river for a few more kilometers, he might have found a village and exited the mountains early. But he chose another path toward a forest area that looked inhabited, and then misfortune followed. A waterfall blocked the route not far ahead, so he chose to detour around the hillside. While walking, during the climb over, he accidentally fell about 10 meters onto rocks and lost consciousness on the spot. When he woke, he found his backpack was gone, and his tent was missing too. Worse still, his sleeping bag was also gone, making the situation even more desperate. In below -20 degrees, to avoid hypothermia at night, he had to find dry grass and branches to lay on the ground, and muddled through the hardest night. At dawn, relying on his judgment, he believed he was close to the exit, so he continued following the river, and luckily he found his backpack, tent, and other supplies along the way. But unfortunately, his food was lost, and the tent was wet too. Hungry, he could only eat toothpaste. Thirsty, he drank melted snow, and this situation lasted for 5 days, until the rescue team found him on the 8th day after Sun Liang set out. On the 15th, Sun Liang's father finally felt something was wrong, because according to the original plan, Sun Liang should have finished his hike and reported his safety to his family today. But no news came for a long time, so he had to report it to the police. He contacted the police and posted a call for help online, and rescue personnel arrived in Xi'an that afternoon to meet the rescue team. discussing all the details thoroughly, and after confirming the 80,000 yuan rescue cost, 30 rescuers split into 5 groups and set out for the Qinling Mountains. After a day of searching on the 16th, not only was no clue found, many rescuers were injured to varying degrees and their equipment was severely damaged. At 11 a.m. on the 17th, the rescue work finally took a new turn. About 1.5 kilometers from the Tuni 800 camp, while checking the fire's burning stillness, the team faintly heard weak calls coming from the downstream rock crevice, and they immediately moved toward the south, finding Sun Liang curled up at the end of the riverbed, extremely weak from days without food. When he saw the rescuers, he could barely stand. Afterward, Sun Liang recalled, at first he thought the smell of smoke was a hallucination, until he heard footsteps and tried to call for help. After the rescuers' relentless efforts, he was successfully escorted down the mountain at noon on the 18th, and then taken to the hospital for treatment. But the story did not end there. On March 14th, Sun Liang, after recovery, voluntarily returned from Wuhan to Taipei County and accepted a 5,000 yuan fine for illegal crossing, becoming a classic negative example in outdoor safety campaigns in Aoti County. But he deeply realized his mistake and changed his social media bio to warn against illegal crossing, using himself as a cautionary example. The brief bio reads a survivor with the most honest respect for nature and the most serious warning to all outdoor enthusiasts. The wind and snow of Aoti County never yield to courage, and the stone sees folks never guide by luck. Perhaps we should remember, the true spirit of the outdoors is not the impulse to dare enter no man's land, but the awareness of risks and a clear mind to follow rules.